there are 15 people in ICU. Then tomorrow, the number of deaths will be 15. Do y'all hear how sick, how tragic, how sad I'm telling y'all? We have about 25 ICU beds only. 25. Today had 18 deaths. That means 18 ICU beds, most likely all were in ICU. Let's say 14 were in ICU and 4 elsewhere. Because I hear people dying at home and things too. So they don't give us all the breakdown. So let's say 14. So they have cleared out 14 ICU beds. So you probably have 11 patients in ICU. Overnight, or while I'm talking, 4 or 5 more might go into ICU to take up the number of patients in ICU to 16. And tomorrow afternoon, 4 o'clock, we will hear 16 citizens dead. If that does not worry you, that I'm not hearing that kind of thing in other countries, I'm not seeing it. I look it all over and I've never seen that. Why? What is it? And yesterday 19 and today 12. 507 lives lost. And y'all are still playing games and trying to say, oh, we need to all get together and handle this. When y'all were number 1 in the world, when Kamala asked 5 occasions, meet with us. When Tim Gopi Singh, Lakram Bodo, Fuad Khan, Rai Ragbir, all of the people in the UNC giving you ideas. When Dave Tanku telling you about financial assistance for the banks and deferral of loans, passing laws and so on to protect people from foreclosure, from preventing the banks from profiteering. When all of these ideas come, when the borders, the porous borders are spoken about by Jerlyn John, Wade Mark, Rudal Munilal, David Lee, when they speak about it, Anita Haynes, when they're telling you all what to do, how to do it, when Kamala speaks of the dome security, you ridicule, you laugh, you play the fool, and now we are crumbling, you're telling, you all are trying to attack the opposition who has no power to do anything except talk and give suggestions, and every suggestion has been met by arrogance, stupidity, and now we are the worst in the world, and you all are trying to cry upon the opposition. Give we arrest. If all you want to blame we, tell them come out, put Kamala there, and let we handle it. We will handle it. We will not cry. We will not pull aside and weep. We would not cry and be, oh God, don't blame we. We will do the job. Because it's very simple. It needs management, it's science. You need all hands on deck, and you cannot be playing the fool with doctors. Ed Davlin, I have a master's and I'm a playwright. Thomas. But Davlin Thomas, you concocted statistics to try to put doctors on your team against doctors on your team. And you said that since you made a decision that you had lied about because you had said that it was Don Martin who had begged repeatedly for you to transfer out, switch out the senior specialist, and you listened to Don Martin, the chief of staff of Cuba, and so you did that. Then when Don Martin said, but boy, you lie, I never said that, that's the most noticed thing in history. You come and say, well, it was burnout, but you move burnout people who burning out with COVID, you move them across to Arima, where it's same COVID, and you move them to Cora, which is the same COVID. So burnout to burnout to burnout, you idiot. You have united the Medical Association, the Nurses Association, the 11 specialist doctors who write letter, the NCRHA. Let me tell you something, all you should resign. Davlin should resign. And talking about he is ready to fight. Davlin Thomas, I will deal with you shortly. But when you concocted statistics to ball that there was a 60% decrease in the death rate at Cuba because of your shifting around doctors, and there was a 25% increase in the rate of discharge. Not even me a CMO, not even Parasram, not even Convent girl who does lie on a Monday morning before he eat egg and lie before he go to bed. Not even he could try to defend you and your stupidity. But you know what? He's still there though. And you all find that correct. You all want to tell the opposition, join that and hug up. Hug up Davlin Thomas. You are telling me the UNC Kamla, all are we 19 downstairs, 6 upstairs, and 309,000 people to hug up a man who has abused doctors, concocted data to lie on them, lie on our chief of staff in a pandemic, created division amongst doctors, brought down a team, created a work environment of depression, who has led us to the worst performance in the whole globe. You are telling me, hug up Douglar and say, good job. Look how you give me a flipping chance, eh? CMO, defend Douglar now. The all sing, defend your boy now, man. Stand up for Douglar. Run it.
Minister Dialsing, I'm sure you've been looking at this ongoing situation with the NCRHA CEO and the changeover of the doctors at Cuba. If his information is accurate, that there was a 60% survival rate increase at the hospital, does that mean that we are looking at a lapse in the way the doctors had previously dealt with the situation?
Not necessarily. I think that press release is open to all sorts of interpretation, and the Chief Medical Officer and I have been discussing it, and he will give you the answer.
No, I mean, it's a statement that was made from the CEO. So ministry has now seeing that statement out there, we continue doing what we are accustomed doing in terms of our meetings, but there hasn't been anything that we found that bears, when you say statements like that, 60% reduction in an institution, we see the numbers remain more or less the same in terms of deaths throughout the system. It could just simply mean that there are a greater number of deaths in another institution for that particular time frame. But again, it has to be looked at.
That the best all you could do? That the best all you could do to defend your devlin? Convan girl, you pelted on the CMO? You lost your testicles all of a sudden? What, you went to the side in the press conference, you looked down, you checked, and you saw none, and you wept. One tear came out for your 2 testicles that were disappeared. Look at this. This is from the nurses. The CEO claiming a massive 60% decrease in the death rate purporting to come mainly from the rotation he implemented on the 20th May 2021. A most shocking statistic. What data was the CEO using? Using the Ministry of Health own tabulation. It shows 1st of March 12, 2020 to May 19, 2021. The death rate of the COVID-19 in Trinidad and Tobago was 1.8%. Death rate and deaths per cases May 20th, 2020 to May 28, 2021. The death rate has risen to 3.21%, which is higher than the world average of 2%. Let's look at the Ministry of Health COVID-19 updates, number 729 prior to May 20th and number 730 to number 738, May 20th till May 28th. The statistics are emerging. 15 less patients, pull it down a bit, 149 to 134. 2. Cuba is treating 22 less critical patients who would have been in ICU or HDU. 65 down to 43, playing games with numbers. Patients being treated outside of Cuba facility increased from 394 to a whopping 500. This is the management of Douglar Thomas to make himself appear like he's intelligent, playing with people's lives, playing with statistics, playing games, and you'll find the UNC must hug up Douglar, Convangel and Rowley and say, great, let's get going. Come on, man. Tell them get out of the way and put people who can do the job. Official, leave it there, I ain't finished. Official facilities used to treat COVID-19 patients also have increased from 11 to 16. The Ministry of Health continues to not include COVID positive patients who are treated outside of the official COVID facilities. Not so high delight. The light blocking may come back down. Simple maths to achieve a 60% reduction in death rate, reduce admissions, plus reduce critically ill patients being admitted equal improve your death rate at the institution. How shameful. Devlin Thomas come out. Now, let me also read for you. This is who y'all want the UNC to get behind. The PNM put a pharmacological failure, a druggist as the Minister of Health. The druggist put a mass man and a poet, a thespian as the CEO of the Eric Williams Medical Sciences Complex, a thespian who lies on doctors, who lies on specialists, who lies to try and make himself good, who tries to play games with people dying and people health. And you are saying, Kamala must say, go, yes, Convent girl, let me work with you, let me go work under you, let me assist that stupidity, let me hug up Devlin Clown Thomas. Are y'all really serious in this country? So they don't have no such thing as when you fail, come out. It don't have you're fired. It don't have resign. It don't have find somebody else to handle it. It don't have that. All over the world, it had that. Not in Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago, you could fail completely, 100% wholly and solely and remain, and then have clowns telling the opposition who are more competent people line up to perform to support this clown. That's what he should be doing. Painting not a window, you know. He should be painting the backstage, the set for a play. And he should be Caesar or Othello. He should be on the stage and we should be buying tickets to look at this clown and the big belly self. Look at him supporting another loser. A man who had O levels to rub together, who come out and had to go and work in the government radio station. That's what he did. And Lord Saddam beat both of them. And he in charge of our pandemic, and we are the worst in the world, and he still has not resigned. Not only the nurses, not only the medical association, not only Tim Gopi Singh, not only the 11 doctors and specialists, not only Dr. Don Martin, not only the cleaners, the security, all at the hospital who want Devlin Thomas to go. Two noted medical professionals, not only Anand Chattergoon, have added their voice to the chorus of calls from Minister of Health to reinstate doctors. Dr. David Bratt and Dr. Joel David Tilak Singh penned a joint article. While our nationals have struggled to return home, porous sea borders have allowed a potential influx of variants to ravage a largely unvaccinated population. The spectacle of an uncoordinated immunization campaign with limited communication has created fear, mistrust, and uncertainty. The Couva Hospital and the multi-training facility is at the epicenter of our COVID-19 response, and the recent transfer of 4 senior doctors was criticized by its medical chief of staff, Dr. Don Martin. He believed that he was being used as a scapegoat, and it was demoralizing to move his team at this critical stage. The Chief Executive Officer of the NCRHA, Mr. Devlin Thomas, contradicted him initially and then made an unsubstantiated statement that the rotation of doctors caused a 60% reduced mortality at that institution. Of course, the medical legal implications are mind-boggling, right? Big words. But it means the Devlin Thomas, yes, I said Devlin Thomas, you get your lawyers ready. Who you have? The AA Kwamina, Gilbert Peterson, Small Pin, Al Rawi, Keith Scotland. Who you have on your side? Eh? We would like to add our condemnation, says Dr. Bratt and Dr. Tilak Singh, of these actions to those of 11 heads of department at Mount Hope Hospital, the Nursing Association of Trinidad and Tobago, the Trinidad and Tobago Medical Association, and that of the media. Condemnation of Devlin Thomas. And here, Devlin Thomas, I'm prepared to fight. Prepared to fight? Who you want to fight? Why you want to fight? What is the fight? Who you fighting? Doctors, senior doctors, nurses, the Medical Association, Dr. Bratt, Dr. Tiloxin, Dr. Anand Chattergoon. Who you fighting? Nobody fighting you. You have failed, boy. Simple. You had an opportunity. You had an awesome responsibility. And you failed dramatically. You failed. Resign. You come in to fight. Fight who? Nobody want to fight you. Get out. We studying people life. We studying systems in place to save our people. Our people are dying like flies. Once you're reaching AHCU, ICU, you're dead. Right now, once you reach in ICU in Trinidad and Tobago, you're dead. You want to fight? Use a boxer? Go and fight boxer pots. Listen to this clown. I am on a mission. I am like a pilgrim. Listen to me. Go on a stage. Take your paintbrush, paint a backdrop, and go and be on a stage with you and by yourself. This kind of dramatic stupidity. You are a pilgrim. You're a dance clown who have we dying. You are a lying man who lie on Dr. Don Martin. You are a man who concocted data to try and look good when people are dying. You're a pilgrim. I didn't know pilgrims do that. I thought they just eat turkey. I am a descendant of the Americans. Just like Hazel Manning. Mrs. Manning, you sure you want your name called in with Devlin Thomas? He just like you for true? I feel you better make a statement about that, you know. Tell Devlin, leave your name out of this, eh? Americans were escaped slaves. So how slave reaching this? Oh, it's a race card you're pulling out your pocket? Huh? Oh, it's a race card. They're coming at the poor black man. Not the poor lying man. Not the man who only has a master's and has no experience in the field of medicine, is not a specialist, is not a doctor, does not understand COVID-19 protocol, patient care, is not a nurse, has never worked in a medical field. You may have acted as a doctor on stage or written a play with doctors in it. Well, then you should go and be on Grey's Anatomy, go and try to write an episode, but not come in charge of my citizens. My citizens are dying, and you waxing poetic. Hear this clown. They went back to free other slaves. I know I would face the onslaught of arrows. Really? I can't even read more. I have to read more just to show you all the insanity of this human being. Let me stick it out. Let me be man enough to read this stupidity. I know I would face the onslaught of arrows. I am a gatekeeper. Right now you are the gatekeeper of death. People are dying because of your mismanagement. You are bordering, and I hope the police, DPP, somebody is going to investigate you. Because people are dying. We are hearing horror story after horror story. You have unified all medical staff, all medical personnel from the top come down. I have never seen that in the history of Trinidad and Tobago, that all medical personnel are unified in the conclusion and the condemnation of your stupidity, arrogance, and incompetence. Thomas maintained the rotation was done. Well, he started a liar there again, right? Devlin Thomas. Who you fighting, brother? The CEO. You are supposed to be the captain. You are supposed to be the gaffer, the manager. You are supposed to keep your team feeling good, focused, well-fed, well-equipped, good equipment, good uniforms, good timely rotation, keep them safe, PPE, make sure and fight for extra wages and bonus for them, keep the equipment going, motivate them. You fighting them? Then that's an admission of failure. You're going to fight the Medical Association? That association is part of your team. Those are the people who make up. That's your star boys, that's your Messi, that's your Ronaldo, that's your Latapi, that's your York, that's your Levi Garcia. You come to fight them, you have failed. You come to fight the nurses, you have failed. You come to fight Dr. Bratt and Dr. Tiloxin, you have failed. You come to fight hospital staff, you have failed. You put in defenders against midfielders. You have failed. Who you fighting? Who you fighting? You got a job. You say you're competent. You prove to be incompetent. Come out. I don't expect the clowns to fire you, because the clowns who did not know that you would not be able to do that job put you there and defending you. Even though they can't talk out to defend you, they still wouldn't move you because you are a clown just like them. And they promote incompetence to the highest levels. Allah, Minister of Health. Allah, Minister of National Security. Allah, Prime Minister. I'm going to take a little break, and when we come back, share the live, because Dr. Rowley, you are the greatest divider to ever hit power in Trinidad and Tobago. Not only are you the worst Prime Minister, you're the least patriotic. You're the most selfish, disgusting human being to ever sit in a parliament. No joke. And your statement on Indian Arrival Day, your message was replete with racist rants, divisive words, flawed concept, historical manipulation, and downright disgusting politics of the lowest level. And I'm going to show you all, dissect it, and prove to you that Keith Christopher Rowley is sick. And Trinidad and Tobago, the PNM, with all due respect, the PNM, you all know, you can't even defend it. You know that you all have made a mistake. You know you all have to use some party internal maneuver, something, and get rid of that man, because our country may never recover from this. Keith Rowley, you are pathological. I know I detested you before, but Lord have mercy, I didn't know it could get worse. Share the live, please. We're coming back right now.
Venezuelan fishing boat in and out of Trinidad. This is the third one that passed. Right outside Island of Mona's Coast Guard.
11:01 a.m. on Monday, Indian Arrival Day holiday. 1 hour and 1 minute after curfew. Curfew is not for Venezuelan fishing boat with a set of them on it. It's only for Trini. A little freeze there, so it's a short break, no big thing. And to Mr. De Silva and all those youth men who went out there, respect, 100% respect, love. Lord, that give me goosebumps. Taking care of your people, well done, well done. The Minister of Education, the Honorable Bundles, she said on something Twitter thing, another 20,000 had been ordered, talking about laptops, tablets, devices, right? She said 22,000 devices for online learning had been donated by corporate TNT. 22,000. I want to thank corporate TNT for donating and doing the job that the government is supposed to do, that Kamla Prasad Bisesa and the UNC was doing and would have continued to do under Tim Gopi Singh and Fazal Karim. So I want to thank corporate Trinidad and Tobago for pulling up the slack in the incompetence and the heartlessness of the PNM policy towards education. She said another 20,000 had been ordered by the government. They are being shipped from Miami and should be received in early to mid-June, just in time for holiday. They should reach 20,000 devices by the government, who caused a lockdown on March 22nd, shut down borders and so on, shut down schools around the same time. And since then, they shut down a laptop program since September 8, 2015. And since then, they know that 46,690 children have no devices to go online. And they, up to now, in June, have not purchased or received one device for children. They are saying that the devices are going to reach in mid-June. By the time they distribute 20,000 devices, it go be July. School done July 10th. So they bring in devices for the children to watch SpongeBob during the holiday. Because we don't have summer school here. And this is the PNM boasting about this on the Twitter space or whatever it is, boasting about the total incompetence, the lack of heart, the lack of care, the lack of consideration. She continued, Gadsby Dolly, Minister Bundle said, these devices are integral to the next stage that the government is working towards. What would enable the use of the devices, the use of e-books, the development of ministry school learning management system. So Gadsby Dolly, why you didn't just say, after 6 years, you have finally caught up with Kamala 2010. 11 years after Kamala, Tim Gopi Singh and Fazal Karim were moving this country in a direction of e-books, laptops, tablets, online, Wi-Fi, connectivity, children, preparing them. 11 years ago, you now reach where Kamala and Tim Gopi Singh was in 2010. This clap is where I'm giving you a bundle of claps, girl. Oh Lord, girl. Brilliant. You better call Narcissus Scope. Tell her be on the ready. She then also said there were 2,000 students who are not attending school. That is the 2,000 out of those who logged on. So those who are not attending school, is that 2,000 who drop out, as well as the 46,690, so 48,690 children have not been in school for 15 months, and you getting devices for 20,000 of them. You're still 26,690 devices short, and you're getting it for the summer holidays, so they could take their laptop and stay in quarantine in state of emergency. Well done. PNM cares. Yes, they do. From one ridiculous thing to another one. A Theodore Lewis. Theodore Lewis. Theodore Lewis. I think I destroyed something he wrote. This PNM professor, this PNM rewriting history professor of nonsense. He came, page 14, Newsday, section 8, Tuesday, June 1st. And he said, schooling here in Trinidad and Tobago is an extension of party politics. As a result, black children attend the worst schools. He said, black children suffer because they do not have political champions. I'm a proud black man. I know what you mean. The black people are hungry. Give them banana. Blank. How she could call me a black man? I'm a proud black man. And the PNM is the black people party. And the PNM cares. And the PNM Lavanti, Labre, Point 14. Never Pottersville South. Never vote nobody else. And the PNM controls 91% of the African vote. And the PNM has been in control of the reins of power for 48 out of 60 and a half years. Theodore Lewis. And you come to blame UNC for black people, children not doing good in school. Theodore Lewis. You know, if I didn't feel so sad for you, I would have to laugh. Theodore Lewis, do you know that before the advent of the PNM, before the PNM took control of the reins of power and really got their policies ingrained, do you know that all the scholars in the 50s and 60s, into early 70s, 80 to 90% of the scholars were African? The Indians in 50s, 1956, the East Indians, and 60 were functionally illiterate. You don't know that, Theodore Lewis? PNM held power from 1956 to 1986, and during that time, Africans moved from scholars to dude. From scholars to what you talking about now. And you know what the East Indians did? With the donkey cart school on the corner that all they used to call? When Sat Maharaj and Mahasabha and the Muslim League and so on start to build schools because they realize they will never see political power. They start to educate themselves. And cane cutters who couldn't read and write wear the same rubber slippers and short pants with shirt and make sure they had oil in the lamp and buy book for the children. And cane cutters' children start to become scholarship winner, start to go secondary school, start to become doctor and lawyer till the late 80s, early 90s when I start to take note and SEA common entrance into SEA. When you see the top 200, 160, 150 to 160 name is East Indian name. You might get 21, 25 African name and the rest mix up. Syrian, white, Portuguese, whatever, Chinese. And that has continued since the 90s to now. And Theodore Lewis, the PNM has been in power majority of that time. And you come to blame the UNC and say that the black children had no political warrior. Well, then you should just, your next article should say, not a black person should ever vote for the PNM again. I waited to read you, Theodore Lewis. I want to read your next article. Because you have to develop this. If the black youth, the black child has no political warrior, then the PNM has failed and has propagated a lie on the black people throughout their history. And I want you to explain. Because the PNM has controlled the coffers, the Cheji, for 48 out of 61 years. So if black children and black people and black youth have no political warriors, the PNM is not a black people party. And you must tell black people, vote UNC. Furthermore, when Patrick Manning realized that he needed some assistance, he created UTT. Where I think you work. I think you work there and all. I think you draws a payday. Patrick Manning created that to give especially those that didn't get a head start down below to catch up to those who were gunning. And UTT did that. It gave them a chance to catch the legs. And then brilliance started to come out from UTT and move on into doctorate, masters, doctorate, PhD, and so on. Patrick Manning did that. Rowley, the black man, come on, burn fire on UTT, cut Custard, close down MIC centers, NESC centers that Kamla Fazal Karim built, David Lee. You are a confused black man, Mr. Theodore Lewis. Something is wrong with you. I think your employers need to send you for a checkup. I am reading your next article because if you have any truth to this, your next article should say that the PNM is not an African-based party. The PNM does not, through their policies, support black people. The PNM has left black children to suffer and move from the heights of scholarship in the 50s and 60s to the lowest bottom of the rung now. There were 814 children in 2018 who got zero in SEA, sir. And when I made that point on Power 102 on the radio, the next years, they never told us how many got zero again. And when I saw the list and I said, I don't want to know about all them Indian children who do good in the top 200 and who come first. Them good, them have good parents, good teachers, good solid community support. Them good, them on the way to success. I want to know about my children who get zero. You know what the PNM did? They just hide the statistics. 814 children in 2018 got zero. 796 were young black boys. Young black boys got zero Boy, I'll pull back that. Don't worry that. I don't want to see Theodore Lewis. And me, I want to see my big ugly face there either. Theodore Lewis, your Black Party, your PNM Party, your Keith Rowley has shut down every educational opportunity created by Kamala Prasad Bisesa, Tim Gopi Singh and Fazal Karim. They have cut gate. Fazal Karim had it up to close to 800 million. They cut that down this time in the budget down to 400 million. Half the gate closed. Fazal Karim increased gate for PhD, masters and so on. He even increased it for elderly people who did not have an opportunity because they had to work hard to put food on the table. Fazal Karim did that. Build university campus, build MIC and NESC centers with David Lee. Rowley came and shut down 12 NESC and MIC centers. The UTT has been shafted by Rowley. You know that better than anybody, and you still working there. You must be one of the only professors to keep your work. All the programs have been cut. You know that better, and you coming to write this? Something is wrong with you, sir. You're sick. Tim Gopi Singh dealt with you too, because you talk about some nonsense, about some program with Samsung and so on and so on. Tim Gopi Singh put the facts and showed you to be a dishonest fellow. So I am looking forward to reading you next week, where you tell people, all black people, all African people, all Trinbagonians, vote Kamala, vote UNC, vote Tim Gopi Singh, vote Fazal Karim, vote Anita Haynes, vote for education. I move it across because I can't see. Only forget to have a light there, you know, Archie, man. Only want to see through a light, a bright, but I ain't so good. Put it on the next side. Yes, let me read Tim Gopi Singh there. As I wait, yes, thank you. Theodore Lewis's questionable peddling of outright falsehoods in this matter is therefore nothing short of devious. He has seriously compromised his integrity and lost every shred of credibility. He must immediately withdraw these false, dangerous allegations and apologize to all concerned parties, including the Presbyterian and the Mahasabha boards. Now it's a long, detailed thing because you know Tim Gopi Singh don't make joke. It's full of factual information on what took place, the Samsung, what was done, how it was done, and so on. And nothing this Theodore Lewis write was true. But Theodore Lewis, I thank you for your endorsement of Kamala Prasad Bisesa, your endorsement of Fazal Karim, your endorsement of Tim Gopi Singh, your endorsement of the UNC for education. Rowley built a school. Tim Gopi Singh built 106 schools. Fazal Karim bring UEDB campus. Tobago was getting a campus and MIC, NESC centers. And you have the audacity to claim that the UNC and Indian make African not do good in school, when your PNM government has held the reins of power, the education budget, has designed the sport and culture fund. So, I don't know what university will hire you, boy, but something is wrong with you. All right. Well, as we broach the race topic, let me take a little sip of water. Because Keith Christopher Rowley, Keith Catastrophe Rowley, the beauty of being a Douglar politics, is that race is irrelevant. You meet people, you greet people and how they treat you, if they're courteous, if they're nice, if they're moving, if they're thing, and that's how you judge people. You don't see race. Because your love for me, my Indian mother, and I love my Tobago African father. Keith Christopher Rowley, and I'm shocked at the silence on the media. I'm shocked that something that is so divisive, so disrespectful, so disdainful, so racist, with undertones and overt racism, division, separation, and attack, could be printed on the website, on the Facebook page, on the public page, on the personal political page of a Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, and I just hear crickets chirping. But when a blogger talks some nonsense, woo, they go wild. UNC. When Kamala make a slip of the tongue, she say blank 34 times. And all you say she say black. Me I hate it, but let me say she say black once. Slip of the tongue in a 45-minute speech. You all say she racist. UNC do a ad with hungry people. And a fellow not even looking Indian help somebody else. Some food. The food he had was banana. Hindu love monkeys. Love monkeys. Worship monkeys. Banana is a white people thing against brown and black people, against Indian and African same way, whether in Europe, whether in the south of USA, whether in Mississippi, Alabama, Oklahoma, wherever. That's a white people thing against brown and black people, including Latinos and so on. So no, that's not a brown and black thing. That's not a black and brown thing. That do exist. Rowley concocted that and created that on a furor, fueled by the media, by editorials, by columnists, by letters to the editor, by questions, big question, small question, this question. But when a Prime Minister prints and creates with forethought a divisive, racist, ridiculous, dotish message to the nation, I hear nothing. Let's go through it now. Rowley's Indian Arrival Day post on the official. We could put it up there so people could read it. So they say Anil making it up. He says, on behalf of the government and the people of Trinidad and Tobago, my own family, and myself as Prime Minister, I extend sincere greetings to members of the East Indian community on the occasion of Indian Arrival Day 2021. Okay? So this is directed to citizens of East Indian heritage. Paragraph 1. Dr. Rowley said many reasons have been advanced for their individual contractual decisions for journeying from the massive subcontinent to the little known Caribbean colony. Individual contractual decisions. Come back to me. You go flash in and flash out. I want them to see my face when they come in to do this. In 1845, the Indians that came here on the Fatal Raza came from the subcontinent, were the poorest of the poor. They were oppressed by the colonial masters. They were suffering from famine, disease, death, and poverty. They were illiterate in the majority, nearly all. Could not read. This Prime Minister says that they made an individual contractual decision for their journeying, thereby downplaying the suffering, the pain, the agony, the disrespect, the degradation that this so-called concocted indenture, because slavery had been abolished, was putting these people on the boat. Half of them didn't know where they was going, what they was going to do. They just was praying that they reach somewhere where they could get food. Rowley continued, unlike some other groups, put it back up there because I don't want them say that I'm lying. So flash in, flash out, Archie, had to go. Unlike some other groups, their arrival was encouraged and induced. Now, this is an Indian Arrival Day message highlighted to the East Indian community. And Keith Christopher Rowley, the Prime Minister, decides to distinguish and let the country know that the other major group, the African group that reached here, they were not induced and had no choice. They were brought as slaves. And this man is trying to juxtapose the pain, agony, and suffering of the worst calamity ever inflicted upon human beings, the transatlantic slave trade, to indenture, in order in his sick mind to give some sort of downplay of the sufferation and the pain of the East Indian, because nothing compares to the pain of transatlantic slave trade. Nothing! So it was unnecessary, it's divisive, it's racist, it's degrading, and it's disgusting to put that comparison in there through innuendo, through direct comparison, and to downplay the pain and the eventual success of East Indian people in Trinidad and Tobago. He said they were encouraged and induced. They were not encouraged and they were not induced. They were tricked, they were fooled, they were cajoled, they were abused, they were tortured also. They could not read, they could not write, they were confused. The tyranny, he then said, they too, the East Indians, they too faced some of the tyranny of the colonial administration, injustice, abuse, and violence. Why would a prime minister make this distinction? Why would he, one, say they too, again, as compared to the other major major group of Trinbagonians, which is African, and the slave trade? So he's comparing once again slavery with indenture. Is that necessary? Why would he do that? What's the purpose of that? What's the purpose? And then he says that the East Indians faced some of the tyranny of colonialization. Some, they faced all. All. And is it important who faced more and who faced what? Tyranny is tyranny is tyranny. But this is your prime minister address on Indian Arrival Day. And you all saying this is okay. Let me continue. Rowley then continued and he said, to their centuries-old East Indian community, to their centuries-old customs and values, including entrepreneurship and thrift. Thrift is frugality. Thrift is cheapness. Thrift implies selfishness. As we could see later on down at the end when he goes into raw, disgusting politics, you will see that he says don't go within yourself and become an antagonist and so on, and selfish political motives. So here, it's a well-designed, well-thought-out, divisive piece of messaging from a prime minister, a sick man. And he says, the qualities. And somebody tried to tell me today, oh, he was trying to give a compliment. If you are trying to give an entire grouping of people a compliment, and all you could come up with is that they're good entrepreneurs and they're thrifty, you ain't come up with a community spirit. You ain't come up with a culture and the religious, different religions and the belief, and they stick to you every 30 minutes. You ain't come up with their strength, their togetherness, their perseverance. You ain't come up with the education, their adherence to family values, their music, their literature, their brilliance, their creativity. You ain't come up with none of them things. The prime minister comes up with entrepreneurship and thrift. Then he goes on, our future lies in every immigrant group committing to the shaping of a new TNT in the post-COVID world. What immigrant groups? We are all standing here today as Trinbagonians from mother Trinidad and Tobago. We are not immigrants, whether Portuguese, Chinese. The only ones that is immigrants is illegal immigrants, Venezuelan, but they have some who legal from long time. But the illegal immigrant, them is immigrant. African, Indian, Chinese, Syrian, Portuguese, Whitey, Anglo-Saxon, wherever. We born here generationally. Some of we great-great-grandmother was born here. Great-grandfather, grandfather, father, mother, children. And this man talking about we must now forge a new Trinidad and Tobago. In 1962, when the flag went up in front of the Red House, all of we is Trinbagonian. No immigrant, all of we is red, white and black. This man writes this on Indian Arrival Day. And it goes unfettered, undiagnosed, goes easy, quiet. How is that? He continued, No one should retreat inwardly. Talking to the East Indian community. Talking about, remember, earlier on when he talking about selfish, self-centered, thrift. No one should retreat inwardly at this moment, but instead go beyond the narrow-mindedness of individual self-interest and identity politics, now attacking the entire East Indian community, calling them a monolith, putting them as UNC, attacking Kamala and the UNC, and saying that at this time in COVID-19, if you criticize Rowley, you are unpatriotic, you are identifying with race politics, and you are selfish in an Indian Arrival Day message from the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Rowley continued, the mindset of every citizen without surrendering ancestral strength should be, I reject partisanship and accept above all my personal responsibilities to my nation. So here he is implying that he is the African Prime Minister, he is the PNM, and this group of East Indians who's arguing and showing him to be incompetent, all of you are selfish and unpatriotic, and you are shirking your responsibilities to the nation because you tell him, what the hell you invite people to Tobago for? What the hell you wear your mask and your chin strap for? Where are the vaccines? Why are we only reaching 10% vaccination by August 31st? Why do you have a playwright and a carnival man in charge of doctors, specialists in a pandemic? What is going on with the borders? Where the Brazilian variant come from? Where the new UK variant come from? Where the Indian variant going and come from in the next 2 or 3 weeks? Why are we dying as soon as we reach the ICU? If we ask these questions, we are selfish, we are shirking our responsibility, and we are unpatriotic. By fire, burn you, boy Rowley. To do otherwise, he continued, is to perpetuate victimhood and finger pointing, causing us all to become protagonists and antagonists in our nation's unfolding tragedy. Our nation's unfolding tragedy is because of you, sir, because of your inability to learn, to follow, to listen, to take advice, and to act in our best interest. We are in a state of tragedy because of you, sir, and you are telling the East Indian community, if they find or they disagree with the job that you are doing, they are unpatriotic, they are immigrants, they are selfish, they are self-centered, and only studying themselves and their party identity, race, politics. On an Indian Arrival Day message, I reject your message. And all citizens with a brain should reject that divisive, disgusting, racist, innuendo, disgusting, inappropriate message on a celebration of ancestral heritage that all of us citizens take part in and are proud, because we are all one. Let me just tell you all something. That was Keith Christopher Rowley, okay? You all heard that. Let me read a bit from Kamala Prasad Visesa, because you all like to compare, and we should compare. But some of you all like to say UNC, PNM, same thing. Okay, you've just heard. And maybe some of you all didn't, because I've never seen a Prime Minister's message receive so few shares and so few comments and so few, and he's the Prime Minister. On this Douglar politics alone, for the first half hour, we received more shares, more likes, more comments, more anything than he. Coffee and Doubles yesterday reached 19,000 views, and that's just on Facebook. He had a thing with, we reached 408 shares yesterday on one message, on Doubles, on Coffee without Doubles. This man is the Prime Minister, so I am glad. It means that my population acknowledges the stupidity, the divisiveness, the dangerous words of Rowley. So I commend my citizens. But for you who didn't see, or you who saw and looked away and trying to defend Rowley when he is disgusting and he is the worst thing to ever happen to this country. And Patrick Manning was correct. In fact, play Patrick Manning there, because if all you hear that and all you now understand what Patrick Mervyn Augustus Manning was saying, let me remind you what he said. So now all you know, run it.
I see hate. Mr. Speaker, I see bitterness. Mr. Speaker, I see acrimony.
Exactly what the virus wanted, which was to bring people together during a pandemic. And who organized that, Madam Speaker?
Mr. Speaker, I see animosity. And Mr. Speaker, I see a man completely out of control. Completely out of control, Mr. Speaker. That is what I see.
It's going to be an Easter where anybody who wants to go to Tobago can go and come back when you want.
And that problem is not a new problem to me, you know. I was aware of the tendency for the honorable to go out of control since 1987. Argue your case. Everybody has a chance to do it. But not like my good friend. The minute you oppose my good friend, Mr. Speaker, the minute you oppose my good friend.
Well, 50,000 people did not go to Tobago. That is all part of the national fabric of lies that are being told.
He gets very, very angry. And if you oppose him strongly, Mr. Speaker, he becomes a raging bull. He becomes a raging bull. He becomes a raging bull. He becomes a raging bull.
And yesterday's Indian Arrival Day message that I've just dissected for you is the message of a raging bull. Let me read for you. Another leader, opposition leader, former Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar. You decide. You decide. And yes, let that video run when she went to India, to her hometown. Don't put the volume, but let the pictures run while I read her Indian Arrival Day message. She said, just as our forefathers united to overcome challenges and build a nation, we must work together now to bring the COVID-19 crisis under control. She said, the country is reminded of their courage and resilience in a time of great uncertainty. Having braved the perilous journey, she continued, our forefathers suffered great hardship upon their arrival to our shores. They persevered and held on to their religious beliefs, culture, and traditions, which were passed on through generations in spite of the harsh conditions and experience of indentureship. The majority of the Indians who came to Trinidad and Tobago chose to make this country their home. She said that the indenture system lasted for about 70 years, ended in 1917, and just a year later, Trinidad and Tobago, along with the rest of the Caribbean, was ravaged by an influenza pandemic, 1918 to 1919. While we have the benefit of advances in technology, equipment, and healthcare, the poor and vulnerable in our society are severely impacted in many ways. She said restrictions that are in place, while necessary to curb the spread of the virus, mean that thousands of people are unable to earn an income and care for their families. There is need for greater protection of the poor and vulnerable at this time, she urged. From our East Indian forefathers and all others who made this nation their home, as they looked out for each other and worked together to build communities, let us follow their example and work together to overcome this crisis that we are facing. Indian Arrival Day serves as a reminder of the diverse beauty of our nation, as individuals of different cultures, all united to build our nation. You compare Rowley's Raging Bull address to Kamala Persad-Bissessar's address. Let me go to another leader, Paula May Weeks, Her Excellency, the President. And as you know, last show, I wasn't impressed with one of her statements. But let's read this one and see if Paula May Weeks got it right, appropriate, inspirational, correct messaging, correct thought, historical perspective, without innuendo, without race, without division, without immigrantization. Listen to Paula May Weeks, Her Excellency. Today, the nation marks 176 years since the Fatal Razak dropped anchor at the Port of Spain harbor with 225 travel-weary but relieved passengers on board. With their religions, customs, values, and hopes for a brighter future in tow, they came ashore and breathed new life into the economic, social, and cultural fabric of their adopted homeland And well over a century later, the torch of their legacy of sacrifice, perseverance, and temerity is ably borne by the descendants. Our country is all the better for it. The indentured laborers drawn from villages and cities across India have enriched Trinbagonian society beyond measure. Their music, dance, food, and festivals becoming part of a common cultural heritage in which every creed and race freely shares. Her Excellency continued, the real and enduring impact of their coming is much more than those tangible cultural goods. Their experiences have proved a wellspring of guidance and inspiration from which we all have the privilege of drawing. Our approach to dealing with adversity should mirror that of the pioneers who braved treacherous seas, toiled in an unfamiliar and hostile land, and suffered oppressive working and living conditions before they ultimately triumphed. Theirs is a tale of resilience, courage, and determination to succeed, in the same way that they understood the value of sacrifice in order to reap a benefit. What a brilliant address by Her Excellency Paula May Weeks. Historically correct, respectful, inspirational, brilliant, getting to the point, inspiring us in a time of tragedy now on what we should do. That's the address of a leader. I have one more for you to show you now in the PNM that you all have made an error. You made a dramatic error that will forever stain the People's National Movement. I now read from another leader, the Chief Secretary of Tobago, no mind the 6'6", but the Chief Secretary of Tobago, a young PNM, young. Let me read from Anil Dennis. The THA Chief Secretary Anil Dennis has urged Tobagonians to reflect on the resilience of East Indians as the country navigates the COVID-19 pandemic. Anil Dennis said the occasion serves as a timely reminder never to give up. Dennis said, some of us, descendants of East Indians who journeyed for months aboard the Fatal Razak across the tempestuous seas, heirs of a legacy of determination and endurance by a people who were not broken by the harsh conditions and realities. Let us remember that we have inherited that same iron will and nerve of steel as we deal with this current pandemic, says Anil Dennis, PNM Chief Secretary of Tobago. Arrival Day in its usual fashion, citizens must still acknowledge the contributions of East Indians. From education to entrepreneurship and other spheres, you continue to enrich and build this beloved nation. While celebrating historic days has always been a source of pride for us, the value of these days has become even more significant during this crisis. Anil Dennis said occasions such as Indian Arrival Day go beyond the country's history. They also remind us of the incredible strength and power that we possess as a people. These days offer us remarkable insight about who we are, which is especially important in our most vulnerable moments. Chief Secretary Anil Dennis. President Paula May Weeks. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, former Prime Minister and leader of the opposition. All with three brilliant, inspirational, historically correct, unifying, binding, Trinbagonian, patriotic statements on the celebration of Indian Arrival Day. And one divisive, racist, disgusting, totally erroneous, I cannot even describe it, written by Keith Catastrophe Rowley, the Prime Minister of this country, laced with innuendo, trying to compare tyranny, trying to compare pain and suffering, comparing the transatlantic slave trade to indenture, talking down and unifying and calling East Indians a monolith in politics and identity politics, and attacking and criticizing and dividing. That was the Prime Minister. And all of you intellectuals, all of you professors, all of you out there, you editors, you didn't seek to deal with that, to let him know that that's not on, to let Keith Catastrophe Rowley know that that's disgusting, that those race games will not be tolerated, because he has no other card to play. He has done nothing before COVID, and now in COVID, he has shown his total incompetence. But do you know what's amazing? And as we wrap up here, you know what's amazing? The guardian of Keith Rowley's K-Pax. You have heard the analysis, you have read the statement, you understand how disgusting, how divisive, how racist it was. But here the Guardian, page 12, Guardian editorial, PM's sobering call to unity. So I just show you that divisive thing that that man write. The Guardian analyzed that same piece of writing and hear them calling it the Prime Minister's sobering call to unity. On Sunday, on the occasion of Indian Arrival Day, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley sounded a somber note as he seemed to have made his first real attempt to get all on board in the fight against COVID-19 in a non-partisan, country-first approach. Is that what you all just heard there? Is that what you just read that Archie had up on the screen? The Guardian of Rowley's K-Pax continued, and these are the sick kind of newspapers that have our country in this mess. Guardian, you are total disgrace, they continued. Whatever the reason, we join with Dr. Rowley in praying that finally the political leadership in this country will see the light of day and stop the bickering about who is to blame for the spike, which is the least relevant issue at this stage. Really? And it's not only who is to blame for the spike, it's porous borders, it's lack of policy, it's citizens locked out of the country, lack of investment. Out of $23 billion, only $400 million spent on poor suffering citizens and taxpayers. It is lack of vaccines, no vaccine program, it's lack of data, it's games playing, but we're number one, it's dishonest, it's no contact tracing, it's people dying, it's Davlin Thomas fighting against the Medical Association, the 11 doctors, the specialists, the nurses, and all and sundry. And you are talking about political bickering. Guardian, you're a disgrace, as disgraceful as Rowdy, because you are promoting a racist, divisive, disgusting, historically perplexing piece of writing from a Prime Minister. You are applauding that, Guardian. You are as sick as Rowley. The way out of this scourge is through herd immunity, and vaccination holds the key. Where are the vaccines? The whole world open up. Show up some pictures. They have some pictures. Indianapolis 500, basketball, golf. The whole world. Look at people in a car race. Look at that. Indianapolis 500 this weekend. Show the pictures. It's more pictures. Flash it, man. Look at people. Them have vaccination. Them going forward. The world moving. We in lockdown, shut down and broke down. We with Brazilian variant. We dying out. We have 507 deaths. And you are praising a man who sends a divisive, racist, nasty, disgusting message as a Prime Minister. And you are applauding that, Guardian. You all shame. The vaccines, we need to acquire the vaccines to inoculate the population in the coming months. Well, let me tell you something. I'm going to stretch across here because I forgot one thing. I have something very important for the Guardian and for whoever else, right? Okay. Listen to me carefully. Yes, I'm sorry I'm going long, but sometimes you just have the information, you have to go. Guardian, you are saying, and some of you are saying, MSJ Abdullah, you and your 5 supporters, telling us the UNC, get together with Rowley, come together, even though we in a Westminster system and he in control of everything. They were number one in the world and them doing everything. We beg them to debate, we beg them to meet, we beg them to listen, we beg them to lock down the border, we beg them to put security dome, we beg them for contact tracing, we beg them for testing, we beg them to help poor people, we beg them for hampers. They ain't take we on. They say fire burn all you, hush your mouth, camera. Okay, all you say UNC, come together and help, all right? Well, hear this now and press record and share this. Hear what we're going to do. Since you all want to come together, all right? Let's put the best of the best to deal with the situation until herd immunity, okay? So, let's tell Rowley to make either Tim Gopi Singh or Lakram Bodo Minister of Health until herd immunity is reached. Put Anand Chattergoon to replace Davlin Thomas as CEO of the Eric Williams Medical Sciences Complex and the chairman or on the board of NCRHA. Put Dr. Anand Chattergoon until we reach herd immunity. Put Christian Mute in charge of a vaccine committee with only he on the committee. Christian Mute is in charge of vaccine and instruct him to bring in within the next month 2.1 million vaccine. Anyhow, anyway, all you're studying conflict of interest, I am saying to you, forget conflict of interest because we're dying. All you didn't care about conflict of interest when you rent Al-Rawi own building. You didn't care about it when you rent Franklin White building. You didn't care about it when Convandial Wife Company that she is a member of get plenty contract. You didn't care about Stuart Young brother and NCB Global Finance conflict of interest. You don't care about conflict of interest with Nikwan. Now you're studying conflict of interest. I say fire burn conflict of interest. We need vaccine. We need it now. Put Christian Mute in charge of a one-man committee. Give him the financing. How much money he need? Buy 2.1 million doses of vaccine now. Then also put Dr. Bratt as head of the NCRHA also on that board with Anand Chattergoon. Put Kamla Prasad Bisesa as Minister of National Security until herd immunity is reached. 70% of the population is vaccinated. And if Christian Mute is there, that will be put her as Minister of National Security for 2 or 3 months. Let her put her dome security around, get diesel for Coast Guard, make sure the vessels are working, get the helicopters and the air guard up, put and deploy the army, the police roadblocks, and protect us with the security dome. All you want we work together? Well, let's work together. Put the best of the best there and do it until herd immunity. And once we reach herd immunity, we revert to PNM only. Over to y'all now. We gone.
Politics, we don't get no kicks. Trinidad and Tobago, till we have this thing out the fix. We coming with facts, cut them down like axe. Every kid and race finally got places love to the max. And when we tell them, Anil, Douglar politics, this is Douglar politics, yo. Douglar politics, listen, Douglar politics, yeah. Douglar politics, this is Douglar politics.